Okay, good evening. I'd like to call the Town of Raymond Budget Finance Committee meeting to order. First on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for the October 16th meeting, and they are not available due to the election and all the administration of that work entailed. They will be available for our next meeting. Next, we have the update on the progress of the bank statement reconciliation for June, July, and August.
So where I am at with that is June is complete. July is in process. There was a lot that I needed to do with that particular statement, but you should have an update of all the expenditures and revenues up through at the minimum, the end of July, possibly August, by the time you have your next meeting.
Okay. And Brenda, do you have an update on the progress of the audit?
Yes, so they took like a hiatus after receiving most of the documentation from the finance office. And I was just recently contacted again this week for some additional information. And they told me they were going to continue, possibly get additional information from me next week. Probably pertaining to some of the information that they just asked for this week. It's ongoing. So they have everything they need from me. I'm just waiting basically for them.
Who's they?
The auditors?
Next, we have a staff update on the Budget Finance Committee recommendation for an updated purchasing policy.
Is that you, Sue? You're muted.
Sorry about that. I have reviewed your recommendations and copies of policies from other municipalities. And right now, though, my focus is really on the audit and helping Brenda get ready for the next budget season. So once that's more in hand, I'll turn my attention to policies. And once I have some proposed changes, I'll be submitting those to the select board for their consideration.
Okay. Thank you, Sue. Next, we have the tabled item from the October 16th meeting, the discussion of financing the new dump truck and excavator. Is Public Works Director White with us today? I think you're muted.
During the budget process last year, I had discussed financing the dump truck and the excavator, and that's why I brought it to the Board of Selectmen at that time. And after the meeting, we decided to go a different direction. The truck is going to be built and put together by Allegiance Truck, and that should be sometime late summer next year. We'll have the 140-ish thousand for carryover, and the 225 that's normally budgeted for that, giving us plenty of money to pay for it and not have to finance it. And the excavator will be through this next budget process. We'll look at that.
Nate, has the new truck been delivered yet?
No, we won't see that until, I don't expect them to get that truck until,
25, sometime in 25?
yes. Yeah,
Oh.
it'll be, they haven't even processed the order yet, I don't believe, so you're probably looking,
I think we're frozen here.
Oh,
Is Zoom frozen or is everything's frozen?
It looks as though it is.
Okay.
Let me reboot.
This is not on the agenda. No, and what date is this? This is current. That's okay. Okay. So, maybe this should have been taken up under the banks.
Recording in progress.
We've taken this up under number 3.
Let's go back and revisit it. Because, yeah, we should. Can we go back to it? Or?
I think we should go back to it. Do you want to request to go back to this number 3?
Because she's got some questions.
Dina, do you want to, when we finish?
All right, we should be working.
Want to request that we go back to number 3?
Bill, did this sound mess up again? We don't hear anything from the meeting.
You don't hear anything?
Are you can't
I'll
hear us?
call Bill.
Can you hear us?
Karen, can you talk to Sue?
Yeah. I'm
Sue,
fine.
can you hear us? Doesn't seem like they can.
No, I think she's trying to call you.
Nathan, can you hear us?
Don, Teresa? I think we're on mute.
Oh,
Oh, we're on mute, yeah. I don't think he can hear us, but you're right, audio is down.
I think we were on mute. I don't know if you can hear us back there.
Well, Nathan definitely froze up.
Yeah.
Oh, he froze.
Recording in progress.
Unless it's only his screen that we're looking at.
Don, Teresa, can you guys hear us?
Should we tell him? I don't know if he
Bill,
can hear
right?
us. It is Bill, but I don't know if he can.
Okay, we should have audio now, Sue.
Don, Teresa?
Oh, perfect.
Yes?
Yes, we do.
Thank
Yay.
you.
okay.
Karen, you all set?
Okay.
Nathan, right?
Yeah.
Right, we're going back to the Public Works Director, Nathan White.
Nathan, I don't know how much you know, but you got cut off pretty good there
Yeah.
in the middle of.
yeah, I didn't hear anything after dawn.
Are you guys still there?
We're here.
Oh, All right.
Yeah, the last thing I heard was the conversation with Dawn. That's all.
We didn't
Yeah,
hear a
we-
conversation with Dawn either.
Can you kind
He
of
asked if,
go back a little bit and tell us where you, I think the last thing we heard was that you brought it up to the selectmen.
Oh, yeah, I asked what year the truck was gonna be delivered. That was the last thing.
Okay.
And then he
oh,
froze.
yeah, it's in the fall of, in the late summer of '25.
Okay, that's where everything died.
Don, did you have a
No.
question, Don? We didn't hear what it was.
Dawn had asked if there was a basically if we don't have the funding, do we have to take the truck, and we don't?
A non-appropriation clause.
Non-appropriate. Yep.
So the idea there is that a good deal of the proceeds are coming from next year's budget. Next year's budget's not approved, so you have a contract that, is not fully funded. And so in the unlikely event that it doesn't pass town meeting, you could have a problem if you didn't have a non-appropriation clause. And it's typical to do that, and Nathan said that they've done that, so that's a good thing.
Okay.
Me to say something?
I think we lost him again.
Oh, no, we're here.
Yeah?
Oh, okay.
Okay, we're just being very quiet. I was hoping that we could potentially, if I could make a motion to go back to number 3, which was an update on the progress of the bank statements, if that's at all possible.
Yes, are we all set with the Public Works Director on item number 6? Is everybody okay with that? Are there any more comments with number 6 before we go back?
No, not number 6, but Nathan, if you would stick around for number 7 after we go back to number 3, that'd be great.
Okay. Yep. All right. So let's go back to item number 3 on the agenda so that we can talk about the expense and revenue summary report that was included with our package with the agenda.
Yes.
We have some questions about some of the items on here. Deanna, would you like
Sure.
to address those?
Yeah, and I don't know, Brenda, is it easier for me to go by page and just ask questions regarding what I just saw and just getting clarification, or what?
Yeah, and I unfortunately did not realize there were going to be multiple questions on that
No worry.
particular item because it wasn't on the agenda, so I don't have a copy of it in front of me. So if you could just refresh me on what you're looking at.
Oh, gosh, absolutely. So I'm just looking, I'm just going to go right through order and I'll explain everything that I just saw because I just have
Sure.
questions that sort of stuck out. So just
Yeah.
going under expenses, under admin, I noticed that for the salaries, I noticed that it's up $120,000 already, and I just didn't know if, just a little bit further clarification on that from where we were to budget. Budget is 421,817, and we're at 541,854.
And I can speak to that, Brenda, if you prefer.
Thank you.
Sure.
We had a couple of employees who left employment. One retired and one found another opportunity. And a lot of that was paying out what they were owed to leave.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. And then, I was looking under, again, for this, it was for the broadcasting. We're still under the admin expenses under broadcasting. I just happened to notice, and probably you guys will have a quick and easy one for this. The budget was 13,000 and we're currently at 28,000.
I'm sorry, I was answering a question elsewhere, so
Sure.
The broadcasting budget.
I'm so sorry.
No, yeah, it was in regards to the broadcasting budget. The budget is 13,000 and we're currently at 28,000.
I'm not sure. I can look into that one.
Okay.
Just as a guess, we have had more meetings since doing this. And I do know one piece we did is we did increase the salary a bit of that. So that could be, but that's from last year. So I'm not completely sure. I'll have to look into that one.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Sorry.
I'll look into that.
Beautiful. And then I know, having to do with, I mean, we don't have anyone here from the fire department, and I know that we didn't, ask them to be here. So there was a question regarding some of their vehicles as well, which I know that's something that I'm sure that would be more addressed to them. Let's see.
There was a question on the contract.
On contracts, but would you know anything about like contracts for fire department, or would that be more, we'd have to directly speak to them?
Yeah, that's more their bit, yes.
Perfect. Okay. Beautiful. And then I do have a question for Public Works. Just there's something with equipment maintenance. I know we had a budget of 75,000, and currently we're at 103,000. So I didn't know what might be going on with that.
For
Can I
last year's budget?
speak on that? I'm gonna jump in on that one.
Oh, perfect. Yay.
So when you're looking at the equipment, are you talking about capital? Is that where you're?
I am
not on just the regular
under
equipment line.
the Public Works expenses, and it says in item 4015, equipment maintenance. I'm assuming it's maintenance,
Yeah, it's
M-A-I-N.
maintenance.
Yep.
It's equipment maintenance.
Perfect. Yeah, so it's over 28,000, and I was just wondering.
Stuff was broke that normally doesn't break, and prices went up. We missed that on the budgeting process. Some of the items that we purchased took a pretty good increase in pricing.
Okay.
I don't know exactly. We had some breakdowns. I wasn't prepared for the question, so I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
Just put what went wrong.
Okay. Should I talk about the safety stuff, or? Well, I might be able to ask you, under the safety, I understand street signs, that's pretty self-explanatory, but under the line item for safety, what would that entail?
Safety is anything to do with PPE, safety vests, safety equipment to do with that.
Perfect, okay.
So that's PPE.
Beautiful. Okay, so that makes sense of why you're not hitting that budget and you're actually below. Okay, I was just wondering, because I'm looking at what, like, the differences between, like, if you're not spending enough or spending over. So that makes sense. Beautiful. Thank you so much. I know you did an excellent job. I'm done with Public Works. You didn't expect it. Thank you. Surprise. And then under Public Services, under expenses, the phone was up from $934 budget to over $1,900, sorry, and $81. So I thought that was a pretty significant jump, so I didn't know what that might be, if anyone knows on that one.
I don't. I would have to go back and look.
Okay, all right,
I don't know if there were new purchases for cell phones or something
okay,
for departments. I don't know.
okay. I promise I'm almost over. Let's see here.
No, that's okay.
Big-
You're good.
I know, I never really speak much, and I'm like, wow, I've got a whole bunch today.
And in the next time, like, just as a point of reference, if you folks need information about things like that after you get the report, I'm more than happy to, like, bring it to the table.
Oh, yeah.
Because then I can be more accurate and helpful and move along. I can give you the information you need.
I promise I'll do much better next time. And then I just only have a couple more. Milfoil removal. I noticed that it
Yeah.
went from, did we find a lot more?
Yeah.
We did?
Now
Okay.
that
That's Nathan's department, so.
yeah.
Oh,
We took
Okay.
over the milfoil from Raymond Waterways this year, and that's been subcontracted out. Don't have a lot of information on it. I gave it to Melissa to manage, and again, I can get you some answers if you want it, but I'm just not prepared for any.
oh yeah, no, yeah, if we can just get it for next time, that's great, because I noticed that went from 8,000 to almost 25,000, so.
I just want to mention that.
I can speak on the milfoil from the prior year. I know that you folks had budgeted $8,000 last year and spent $24,000. There was supposed to be some sort of revenue sharing, cost sharing that went on, and we never got that.
It did happen because I'm involved in one of the cost-sharing board of directors, and I do know we sent a check to Raymond for whatever our share was. It did go up. And there may be a grant from the state that's buried, didn't get credited to the right place, too. Because the money that comes from like 4 different sites that pays for that total bill.
And I think what happened though is the folks, the milfoil folks that do that remediation, I think they went an extra week as well. So
They
I think
did.
that added to that. Yeah.
Yes, that they
So-
did do.
Yeah, yeah. So, and there was there was a grant amount that did come in, I found that. But it still made you guys go over in that area.
Yeah, I think for the
And-
last 2 budget cycles, I asked for more money to go for milfoil, and it was shot down. So just for the next coming up, I will be asking for that again, because there's clearly 2 years in a row, $20,000. It makes sense that it needs to go up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the last thing that, and I know this is an expense too, and I know no one was prepared for it, the playground, which I know we had talked a lot about, and so glad that we were able to get that budget in for 35,000. It's currently at 62,000. And I know.
He's, that's in the carryover account, CIP carryover account. I know Joe's got some plans for that coming up. That's been turned over to him, 2-3 years ago.
All right.
He's got quite a bit of plans for Mill Street, coming up, and I'm not sure of all what his plans are.
Perfect.
Maybe we can ask him to come next
Yeah.
Okay.
month. I think we need to.
Right.
I think so
Yes.
too. Yeah. Great. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
And I'm not trying to get after anyone at all, but we send out a monthly report and you were to email us those questions, we could have full answers for you for the meeting. So that would be nice to, if you have a chance to look at it ahead of time.
Yep.
That would give us that opportunity and be able to get the information to you faster.
Absolutely. I'll
Yeah.
have that ready for next month. Thank you.
That'd be cool.
There's the $8,000 income for milfoil right there, so it doesn't go back and forth in balance right. What I see. No, $8,000 that came in from outside. Well, that adds to whatever you,
Right, okay.
just so you know, I know we paid it, 'cause I had to.
We're all learning how this process works. We haven't done these meetings on a regular basis before, so we're all learning.
Oh, no, that's only reason why I brought it up, to reiterate what Brenda said. It just, that way you can get the answers you need. And we can email them out to you as well and go over them at the meeting so that it's understood all the way around.
Sounds good, Sue. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, are we ready to move on to the next item? I believe that's item 7, the discussion of the traffic calming solutions in Raymond. Peters.
Nathan, would you mind give us an update on the sign that you were hoping to borrow from the county?
We've got, county's not loaning them out until spring. They're all done loaning them out for the year. Our sign's all up and working. Kevin finished it up today. Should see that setting out on Egypt Road, hopefully the first of the week.
So the sign is working. Can you remind, so the part that you needed, was that to get it working, right then, which is, you said something about 1 speed limit. Now it's multiple, it can do any speed limit now?
This sign will record top speed, traffic counting. It'll flash like the other ones do. When you go over the speed limit, you can set it for whatever speed you want. You can set it for whatever overage you want it to start flashing, and it will record traffic counting and high speed and low speed.
Do you have an idea where you want to deploy it first?
Egypt Road's where it's going first.
Okay.
And unfortunately, like the same with the county, once it starts to snow, we're gonna pull it in
Sure.
and we'll park it till spring.
So everyone's aware of the accident that had happened last week. Without getting into all the details, 'cause I believe Peter spoke at it on the select meeting yesterday. He said he had contacted people, kind of got bounced around, and he says it's under investigation. Yeah, just the 2 citizens' lives who were lost that day. I think that, like, I'm ready to get after this thing, and I don't quite know what the right thing to make happen first. I think the sign is going to be helpful, but the issue isn't that people are just speeding. The issue is that people are driving recklessly. And I was talking to Peter Levitt, and I said that flashing sign that Nathan's talking about probably wouldn't have prevented what happened, but police presence may have. And I'm not saying that the sign isn't a good thing. I'm just thinking that it's probably not enough. So I know that Peter brought it to the selectmen yesterday at their meeting, and I hope that's going to get on their agenda, but I really would like to see some more action, more than just the sign if possible, and just kind of my thoughts is I'm ready to budget it if possible. The driving is just terrible.
Yeah,
You know,
there-
it's everywhere. And unfortunately, it affected, I think Peter had also mentioned one time, he said that it's coming from our own citizens, people in town and out of town. And I mean, that's very obvious. We lost 2 of our citizens and somebody from the neighboring town. So this wasn't out-of-state people.
And Peter's wife even mentioned seeing numerous times people passing stop school buses and just flying past them while the kids are coming off the bus.
Yep. Grace had also mentioned, you know, a no passing sign on Egypt Road, but the issue is people are only thinking about themselves right now. They're ignoring, you know, posted speed limits. They're passing on double lines. Putting up signs isn't going to be the solution. People are only thinking about themselves, and it's affecting our community. It's really unfair.
There seems to be an awful lot out there on social media about speeding in Raymond. I've come across posts on many occasions over the last month of people who are very concerned. So the people who are concerned, maybe we should be getting a petition up to take to the select board for hiring a sheriff to patrol our roads. Maybe that's the way to go.
Don, how would you go about that? Is petition before the selectmen a good way to start this? I don't quite know what the right solution is, other than, I think, you know, police presence, but what are your thoughts? Don, I don't know if you're there,
here.
you might be unmuted.
Yes.
Don's on mute?
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yep.
Yep.
Yes.
I was actually looking up something for a citizen, I apologize. And so I had another screen up, and I'm not, these days in retirement, I'm not doing a lot of Zooming. So the question is, what's the best way to go about moving forward with this? And the best way is to make a request of the Board of Selectmen. I don't think there's any need to, do a petition. The Board of Selectmen can act on this.
Yeah, I agree. I know we were talking about collecting evidence, but not I collected, but all the evidence that I needed was collected last week, in my opinion.
I think just looking outside of your door is also.
So,
Was there an accident on the corner of Raymond Hill Road? Ledge Hill Road and North Raymond last week?
yeah, I think there was one.
Yes.
I think there was one
I
on
think
302.
somebody got T-boned up there in the past week or so.
Yes.
I think there was one on 302 as well, a day after. I think there was.
Guy on a motorcycle on 302. There was one on 11 the next day. It was been a series of them.
Yeah.
Right.
And unfortunately, signs and police presence, they were already looking for this guy that was involved in the Egypt Road. They already had to try to find him because he'd been reported erratic driving. But what it requires is stronger police enforcement across the board, not just, get the guy with a stick along with it. But my point is, it's stronger enforcement all the time on everything, and because they can't be everywhere. But
Yeah.
that'll smarten, maybe wake some people up a little bit.
Yeah, and just think it back to about what Nathan said too. I mean, it's the safety of our employees too. So your suggestion is to make a motion to have the selectmen, Teresa?
Yeah, one of the things I want to remind you guys of, I don't know how many of you know, I know Dawn would remember this. Quite a few years ago, probably a couple years after I got on the board, we invited Sheriff Joyce to come to one of our select board meetings. And we had talked about a police presence at that time. And one of the things that they did say is, if we were to get our own police department here, any sheriffs at all would be pulled out of Raymond, because they would take their sheriffs and put them somewhere else where they're needed. And back then they had more of them, and now they are very spread out. They're covering a big area. So I think what happens is to just go and say that we need to hire a police presence. It's hard, only because that police can't be anywhere. I know Dennis was concerned about not Hawthorne Road, the Cape Road is what it is, how they're speeding out there, Egypt Road, 302, 85. You know, I reported somebody to the school that went right through the school bus there. Even if we had 7 police officers here, which would be a big number, but one life is worth that big number. I get that. But I also know that I believe we have 4 sheriffs that live in town now for the Cumberland County. But we would lose. So I lose them. But I think what it needs to take is not just a matter of saying, come to the select board to do it. I think there needs to be a plan to see what exactly we want. And if the town wants it enough, yeah, we budget it or whatever. But I think people need to get their face out of their phones and stuff and pay attention. It really does. And unfortunately, we're having a lot of reckless driving, speeding. People are not paying attention. But again, I don't know if I want to lose that Cumberland County either. So it's a process. It has to be a plan to put it together.
I don't think people are talking about our own police force. I think people are talking about a contracted sheriff.
That's what we were talking about in
The sheriff's
comprehensive plan.
department, Not a Raymond police force.
Yeah, we were talking about, and I understand that even contracted police, though, I think Harrison, Bridgeton contracts with the sheriffs.
Standish does, Gray does.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this then. How would a contracted, and I'm being absolute serious on this, how would a contracted sheriff, like 1 or 2, be able to make that difference? Because anything that we can do, yes, but even having one contracted sheriff, that if we have them on all the time, how do we fix that? How do we spread him out or her out so thin? I don't know.
My thoughts is, even if we had one, if we were only able to get one, and he's throughout the town in different places randomly, like you put a parked police car somewhere with nobody in it, the speed gets reduced. I was talking to Peter Levitt, and he was talking about the traffic control signs, which is awesome. But I said, my thoughts are having a sign that flashes. Even Grace Levitt was talking yesterday, like the sign that says no passing. People are being selfish. They're only thinking about themselves. Those signs potentially wouldn't have done anything to prevent last week's accident. But a sheriff would have, I think, on that road. So you're right. They're going to be spread thin, and they're not going to be able to be everywhere at once. By having a sheriff somewhere throughout the town randomly throughout the day, people are like, okay, I remember that cop was on Main Street the other day. There was a cop on Main Street, I think by the Public Works building, and everybody changed their tune. Because I live on Main Street, and I was like, everybody slowed down. And I don't even think that he was in the car. And if he was just texting. So I think that having some kind of presence is a good start. It's not going to, like you said, it's not going to solve everything. But I mean, if we had somebody there that could respond, even just responses is what, you know, having somebody respond quickly is, I think it's gonna be helpful.
I would think that if we had a sheriff who was here 40 hours a week, it would vary hours between day and night, that it wouldn't take long before he would be ticketing 3, 4, 5 people a day for speeding, reckless driving, whatever you have going. It wouldn't take long for the word to spread. It's just
Well,
like
don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking the idea by no means. I'm even thinking, is it possible to get Kevin Joyce in to talk to him about ideas?
That's where you ought to start.
That's the real
We
answer
really
right
need-
there.
Maybe you ought to set up a committee to study this. Maybe the select board should set up a study to look at what the options are. I know that when that sheriff's car is down here at the bus garage, people come up over that hill and all of them go down to 35 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Because
That's the
they're
safest spot.
anticipating there's a sheriff sitting there.
Yep.
And so
Yeah.
basically, if you have one sheriff working the town, and they're going to do it at specific times that people are speeding, when people are going to work, getting out of work, you know, there are certain hours in certain places. I think it would have a great effect on what happens on the roads in Raymond.
Yeah, Wednesday, I don't know if it was post-election kind of thing, but Wednesday, I left my house on Main Street, I went down Main Street, somebody was pulled over on Main Street. I was driving through Gorham, somebody was pulled over in Gorham, and then I was the third person to get pulled over that day, not for speeding, but just to let you know, like, I mean, there was a police presence on Wednesday, and it was probably to make sure that things were kind of quiet, but the fact that there was that many police, I've never seen that many police. I've been here for 5.5 years. I've never been pulled over in Maine, and this is the first time I've been pulled over in Maine. And again, it wasn't for speeding, but just the fact that there was that many police. The tune of people driving Wednesday was completely different than it was than I've seen previously. Don, I think you've got a question. I don't know. I can't hear you though.
Not a question, I have a comment, and the comment is, I think that Frank's idea to put together some kind of a panel to look at the policing needs of the town is probably long overdue. You have the second busiest roadway in the state of Maine. You got a population of around 5,000 people year-round, swelling to, you know, $15,000, so 12 to 15,000 people rather, you know, in the summer. And so, you know, I get the idea of, you know, being this fiscally conservative town, but you also have to look at the priorities of the community, and I think public safety ranks up there. I think this fatality accident, you know, probably wouldn't have been any different if you had, you know, a sheriff's deputy or a municipal police department. But visibility is the name of the game, you know, seeing the cars around town. So maybe it isn't a sheriff's deputy if they are pulled away and have to service other towns on a regular basis. I think they try to avoid that as the town is, you know, paying the freight for that particular deputy. But I would agree that if there's an emergency or a greater need, then obviously they would go. So maybe the answer is a municipal department. I mean, when you look at some of the neighboring towns that are much smaller, much poorer, much less developed, they have police departments. So there's a reason for that. You get into the suburban communities, you know, down in the Portland area, and they have significant police departments. So it's really a decision point the town needs to make. I know it was studied, I think, decades ago. I worked for the town for, you know, over 20 years, and it was before my time. And so maybe it's time to take a look at that again. And I guess having come from a tiny little town of 2,300 that I started working for 40 years ago that had a, you know, 4-man police department, and then, you know, Rockport with I don't know, 9 or 10 people in the police department and when I left, I think, and a much smaller town, but with Route 1 coming through it. So I think it makes sense to look at the options, and maybe it makes, you know, sense to get some more feedback from the public, sure, but in my mind, it's overdue, that's all.
So I'd like to make a motion to ask the selectmen to do a traffic study for the town of Raymond.
What do you mean by a traffic study?
Would it be a traffic study, or would it be a study of policing in Raymond?
Committee?
A committee to look at what are the needs of the town of Raymond for policing? Whether it's hiring a sheriff or doing traffic, or whether it's, developing our own police force. But I think we need to have a committee set up by the selectmen to do that study and get input from
So
the
do you wanna
public and look
recommend?
at what's happening in surrounding towns. We're not isolated.
Okay, so do you want to recommend to the select board to set up a committee?
I would like to,
Because we make recommendations to
Sure.
the select board.
okay, so I would like to make a recommendation to the select board to create a committee to study the traffic in the town of Raymond. Don, your thoughts on that? Is that,
No, change that
I'm in
to
I'm in
Please.
agreement. I think
police enforcement and Raming or something like that. Don't tie it to traffic. Because
Yeah.
what you want the committee to do is to look at the total picture.
Yes.
You agree?
What are the needs of the town of Raymond for policing?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement. A traffic study, will be part of that, but it's a law enforcement needs analysis and then a recommendation from a committee,
Yeah.
an independent committee, that would be impaneled by the Board of Selectmen and hopefully would incorporate people who have some particular interest and facility with this topic. And I'm sure there are many folks, active and retirees in the community, that would have the background knowledge and interest to help. That's how most towns start this process. But as I said, most towns Raymond size already have police departments.
Okay, so would your motion be to recommend to the select board to set up a committee to study police enforcement in the town of Raymond?
I like it. Cliff?
Yeah, that kind of matches up pretty well to law enforcement requirement. Well, yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, it'll work.
Second?
all right, seconded by Frank. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? The motion passes unanimously.
Thanks, Don. I'm working on my recommendations slash motions, so thanks for always kind of helping me out with it.
Well, I had a convoluted one myself last time, I think. It's not an exact science,
Yeah.
Local government's messy.
We all care, it's all from the heart.
Right.
All right, so next on the agenda is discussion of a December Budget Finance Committee meeting date. Our standing date is the third Wednesday of the month. So my understanding, that would be on Wednesday, the 18th.
No guarantees for me from that one, but other than that, I'm good for that.
Okay, and the select board meeting, was it scheduled for December 10th?
Yes, I believe.
Yes, it was.
Thank you. And so, at this time, do we still want to go forward with December 18th?
Yes,
I think so.
yeah.
Okay? All right. Then we will plan to meet again on Wednesday, December 18th. And now, is there any public comment? Nobody here? Anybody on Zoom with a public comment? Okay, and does the committee have a comment?
Yeah, I've got one. So Peter Levitt said that we comprehensive plan handed out 1,000 flyers for the comprehensive plan. Anybody out there watching, if you go to our website and give us feedback on the comprehensive plan, we're getting ready to wrap that up, but we appreciate all of your input. And you can find that right on our website.
Also, the comprehensive plan is having a public meeting for comment on the 4th of December, and I think that's going to be at the school at 6:30, I believe. It's on the town website, so it's a chance for people to come and talk about what they see in the plan, what they like, or what they might like to see changed.
Okay.
So you're all invited. Come on out.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Frank. Anyone else from the Budget Finance Committee have any comments? Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Frank moves.
Second?
Okay. Sean second. All in favor? Okay. We are adjourned. Thank you.